Hi fans, and welcome to this Week 5 edition of the Woodland Hills Football Network pregame show. Last Friday night, the Wolverines traveled to Baldwin and beat the Highlanders 42-7. This week, they return to the Wolverina to host Upper St. Clair in a Southeastern Conference matchup. We're going to sit down with Woodland Hills head coach George Novak, preview last week's victory over Baldwin, preview this week's game against the Panthers, and we'll also let you see highlights of last Friday's game. All of that and more on the pregame show here on the Woodland Hills Football Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, here are your 2015 Baldwin Fighting Highlanders.
Steps up on the hard count. He'll hand off. Miles Sanders counters to the right, cuts it upfield, inside of the 40, inside of the 30, inside of the 20, 15, 10, 5, end zone touchdown. Miles Sanders, first place from scrimmage, is a 54-yard touchdown. Twins to either side as the handoff will go to Persichetti, who was brought down deep in the backfield. Initial pressure by a defensive lineman, and then the stop made in the backfield by Joel Shaw. One receiver to the near side right. Fliker straight drop back. Looking this side the whole way, it's intercepted by Miles Sanders. Sanders inside of the 40, cutting to the far boundary. He's got nothing but greenery in front of him, and there goes Miles Sanders inside of the 5, crosses the goal line for the Woodland Hills pick 6.
Yeah, Miles Sanders did a great job of basically just playing center field on that pass.
And the pass thrown across the middle. It's complete to Nick Altavilla, who's off to the races down the far boundary. And there he will go unscathed for the Highlanders touchdown as he just cut through traffic. And a nice job for the Highlanders cutting this Woodland Hills lead down to 7. Handoff, Joel Shaw. He's off to the races, 40, 35-30, 25-20, 15, 10, 5, into the end zone. Joel Shaw will go 52 yards for a Wolverine TD. Shaw's the one to the right. He's dancing his way around in the backfield. Then he'll spring free to the far sideline, inside of the 20-yard line, inside of the 15. Handoff, Peyton Hicks, he'll run right. Has a huge hole, and he'll cross the goal line unscathed for the Woodland Hills touchdown. Cooper looks left, throws left. Jamon Dunn has it. He's off to the races, 30, 25-20, 15, 10, 5. Dives towards the goal line and reaches across the pylon. Moran, happy feet. He'll be hit. He'll be wrapped, and he will be sacked. Miguel Cobbs and Wilford Clark converge. Cooper's going to keep this one running to his left-hand side inside of the 35, 30, 25, inside of the 20, dancing his way to the far boundary. Handoff, Joel Shaw. Running right, finds himself a hole, dances his way across the 5 and into the end zone for the Woodland Hills touchdown. 2 receivers left, one to the far side right. Moran's going to throw it down that far boundary, and it's going to be intercepted. Holding on to it as he fell to the turf back there was defensive back Nazir Taylor.
We are the Woodland Hills Wolverines. Since 1987, we've been a part of some of the most electrifying football games in Western Pennsylvania, and we've established a national reputation of excellence. Whether you're a former player, a Woody High alum, a parent, or a fan, you're part of our Wolverine family. And now you can join us by becoming a part of our new booster club, the Wolverine Nation. Visit WHFBA.org and see how your donation can help our student athletes while earning you unique benefits. We're more than just a booster club. We are the Wolverine Nation. Hi again, fans, and welcome back to this Week 5 edition of the Woodland Hills Football Network pregame show. Adam Gusky here, sitting down with Woodland Hills head coach George Novak. And Coach Novak, before we talk about this week's game against Upper St. Clair or even last week's game against Baldwin, obviously the thought on most Wolverine fans' minds is, how is Miles Sanders?
Well, Miles, he had some great plays there in that first quarter before he got hurt. He landed on his heel. He still ran for the touchdown about 50 yards. So, after he was done, he realized he was running on his toes. So he realized his heel was bothering him. And we iced it up, and, he went in for an x-ray Saturday morning, and everything was clear. There's nothing broken or anything. He has diagnosis of bruised heel, and depends on how it heals, how fast it heals, and how the pain is, you know, the rest of the week, whether he can play or not this week. But, you know, he's definitely going to be back sooner or later.
Coach, let's talk about the game against Baldwin. You had another big victory, and more importantly, it came in conference play.
Yeah, every conference game's important. You know, we don't underestimate anybody. Baldwin has some very good players. One of our own, Moran Miles, was out there. He transferred out there this year, and he played pretty well against us. He played a lot of different positions on offense and defense. But, yeah, it was a big win, you know, to keep rolling in the conference, because once the other teams knock each other off, then we just got to do our due diligence and take care of our business.
Passing game got rolling again, the big touchdown pass to Jamon Dunn, and you found Steve Puel open yet again.
Yes, I think, you know, we got to utilize our receivers. Duran's coming around. Every week he gets a little bit better. We had a few things here and there, and it's going to make the whole offensive team run better when we throw the ball more.
Obviously, offensively, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about Joel Shaw, not only the way he played in Miles Sanders' stead, but the way he was able to really turn on the Jets yet again.
Yeah, Joel, he's a horse, and he's gotten a lot faster in the off season, running track and working out hard and getting stronger. And, you know, he goes both ways most of the game. He plays defensive outside backer type position. He's kind of a hybrid. He plays different positions on defense. Then he comes in, he's a running back on offense, runs the ball well, he catches the ball well, he blocks well. He's a big time player.
You talk about Joel Shaw defensively. Let's talk about the whole defense. Other than one big pass play for the Highlanders, you really held them in check.
Yeah, I thought defense played very well. I think they had 4 or 5 first downs on us. You know, the pass play, we had a couple of younger guys in there in the secondary. No excuses. You know, they made a good play, and we didn't tackle them, we didn't catch them. Everybody in Quad A got some good players, and that's why it's so exciting.
Coach, let's shift the focus to this week. You've got Upper St. Clair coming into the Wolverina. A season ago, it's a team that you gave their worst loss ever out at Upper St. Clair, and I'm sure they're not going to forget about that.
Oh no, a lot of these guys played on that team for them, and I'm sure Coach Render used that as a little motivation in the off season. I'm sure they were prepared for this game all year, so they'll be ready for us. You know, they're 2-1 in the conference. They beat a very good Penn Hills team on the opening day in a close game, but you know, they're a very good football team. You know, with Coach Render, he's the winningest coach in Pennsylvania, I think, still coaching, and he does a great job with his kids. They have a very dynamic offense, big tailback that runs behind a big offensive line, one of the biggest offensive lines in the WPIL. In the newspaper a couple of weeks ago, they had him as conceivably the best offensive line in WPIL, so it's kind of a little challenge for our offensive line to see how they do against them, and our defense. So they are big. You know, they got a lot of guys 6'6", 6'7", 270 to 300 in that range. So, you know, it's the biggest team we've faced this year.
How about the defense? What can we expect from the Panther D?
They're a 4-4 defense. There'll be 8 men in the box, and you know, be running the ball and throwing the ball. You know, we got to mix it up. We use a lot of different formations. Some that try to spread them out, some that take advantage of some passing opportunities, and some that open up the run game a little bit. So we mix it up on them.
You talked about this week maybe being a challenge to the egos of the Woodland Hills offensive line, and they've really come through all season long. Stephen Rickard may be returning to that offensive line as well.
Yeah, Steve, you know, he had a great first 2 games, and he got hurt the first quarter, the Shaler game with a concussion. He was out, and he has to go in for his final test tomorrow to see if he's eligible to play or practice. You know, if he could practice on Wednesday and Thursday, he'll be eligible to play.
Coach, you've got to be thrilled with the rest of the offensive line, not just Steve Rickard, but the rest of the guys that have come in.
Yeah, I tell you what, Lamont Spratley, Terrell Gray, and Eric Mitchell have done a great job for us. We got junior Jaquay Thomas has filled in for Steve at left tackle, and he's a big guy. He's raw. He makes some mental mistakes, but he's a good football player. He's going to be very good down the road. And of course, the rock of our offensive and defensive line, Wilfred Clark. You know, Wolf's done a great job for us, both sides of the ball. And, you know, he and Joel are 2 of the guys that play both ways a lot, and you know, they're 2 of our better players, and they've done a great job. But Wolf's our leader on and off the field.
Coach, usually at the end of the interview, we talk about an alumni making noise, whether it be in the NFL or in the college ranks. We usually try to keep the focus for the college kids close to home. But way out on the other side of the country in California, you've got one of your former players making a lot of noise for the Cal Bears.
Yeah, Jonathan Johnson, he took the tough ride. He went to Snow Junior College, and he went out there to California, and he's been playing very well for him. He was a 190-pound defensive end for us, and he's gotten bigger and faster and stronger, and grew into his body. And he's very quick off the ball, and I think he's a great pass rusher, and he's really doing well for himself.
Coach Novak, thanks a lot for your time. Good luck this week against the Panthers. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, Adam.
We'll be back with more of the pregame show right after this, right here on the Woodland Hills Football Network.
Hi Wolverine fans, I'm Eric Schuley, and welcome to Week 5 of the Wolverine Watch. On Saturday, the Wolverine cross-country team will participate in the Pittsburgh Central Catholic Invitational at Shenley Oval at 9 a.m. Then the section championship meet on Wednesday, also at the Oval. Field hockey has 2 home games that both begin at 7 this week. On Monday, they face off with the Allderdice Dragons, and on Wednesday, it's the Oakland Catholic Eagles. JV football will have their crack at the Panthers when they travel to Upper St. Clair on Saturday morning for a 10 o'clock start. The boys' golf team hits the links with the Rebels of Seton LaSalle at 2:30 on Friday at Grandview Golf Club. Boys' soccer heads to Shaler to battle the Titans at 7:30 on Saturday, followed by another away game at Carrick on Wednesday at 3:30, and then they host the Plum Mustangs on Thursday at 3:30. On Saturday at 11 a.m., girls soccer plays at home against Steel Valley, then McKeesport at home on Monday at 4, and the Franklin Regional Panthers on Wednesday, also at home at 4. The girls tennis squad hosts the Baldwin Highlanders on Friday at 3:30, then it's a home match against the Norwin Knights on Monday at 3:30, and that is also senior recognition. Girls volleyball competes 3 days in a row this week. On Tuesday, they travel to Oakland Catholic to clash with the Eagles at 7:30. On Wednesday at 7:30, they go on the road to challenge West Mifflin. And on Thursday, it's a home contest at 5 o'clock with Shaler. That'll do it for Week 5 of the Wolverine Watch. We'll be back with more of the pregame show right after this. See you right back here next week.
All right, fans, let's see where the Wolverines stand in the Southeastern Conference. And now let's take a look at the MSA Sports WPIAL Quad A Top 10 rankings. Again, fans, we thank you for joining us for this Week 5 edition of the Woodland Hills Football Network pregame show. As always, you can tune into this Friday's game live on television on Monroeville Comcast Channel 13, Penn Hills Comcast Channel 98, Verizon Fios Channel 37, and on our YouTube channel. As always, our radio broadcast can be heard on our flagship radio station, AM 1550 WZUM, and on the web at woodlandhillsfootballnetwork.com. Our radio broadcast is also live and archived on msasports.net. And don't forget, you can tune in to replays of Friday night's game on all of our television affiliates and on our YouTube channel. For everybody at the Woodland Hills Football Network, I'm Adam Gusky, and we'll talk to you again next week as the Wolverines travel to Cannon Mac. This has been a presentation of the Woodland Hills Football Network. Watch us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and as always, visit us at woodlandhillsfootballnetwork.com.